Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Adobe Live session. I'm your host, Fabiola Lara, and this is a video social media challenge. Today, I'm going to show you how you can create a day in the life type vlog for Instagram Reels or TikTok, just a vertical video using Premiere Pro. So make sure to follow along and download the project files because in the project files, I have all the sequences set up for you to make editing a lot faster. So go ahead and download those and then follow along. Okay, let's jump right into editing. So I already have Premiere Pro opened and I have all my files ready to go, but I'm going to show you real quick how you can do this. Just in case you're not familiar, I want to show you how you can set this up quickly for yourself. So in my actual Finder window, I've got my personal files. These are just what I named the file. And then in here, I have the project files, recordings, audio, and graphics folder. And within these, so in the project files, and if you download them, you'll see the setup similarly on your end. I've got the project file here, which is the actual Premiere file. Then I have my recordings over here. I've got a lot of recordings. Audio, there's nothing in there because I have a little trick for this. And then graphics, which again, if you download the project files, I've created a Premiere Pro caption style that way you can use it and it looks exactly like what I'm doing over here on the stream. So when you open up this project file, this one right here, it's called something different for you. I named it, with my initials, but you can name yours with your initials. It'll look like this. And I've set up these bins in here that reflect kind of that same project structure in Finder. That way things are a little bit more simple and you understand what's going on. But before you get started, what you're going to want to do is just go into your recordings or your footage, select all of that, and then drag it into this footage folder. Right now, your footage folder is empty because you haven't made any footage yet. And hopefully in this stream, I'm going to inspire you to go shoot a day in the life type video and then come and assemble it in Premiere Pro because it's so much easier. All right. So I have my footage in here. I have my audio, which you can see I already have over here on audio recording. And then then I have my caption styles. I just couldn't think what CC stood for a second. And this random adjustment layer, because I'm going to show you how I end up using that. But the first thing you want to do once you open up your project, it's going to be empty, is load up all your assets into the project. Just like I just mentioned, you want to load it up accordingly. And then if you open up your sequences, I have all these different sequences. You'll see that I've also created those for you. So you know what kind of sequence settings you need to start with. But I want to show you exactly how I made that so that, you learn how to do it for yourself. So the first thing you want to do is go to File, New, and then create a new sequence. You also can use the shortcut Command N. In the settings, here's what you want to pay attention to. So you want to make sure that it's not 1920 by 1080 because then you create a horizontal sequence like this. And once again, like I just said, and it's in the description of this video, we're doing this for social media, which means we need it to be vertical because that's just the world we live in now. So here we go, hit sequence. And now we go into settings and you'll want to switch this to 1080 by 1920 and it'll say 9 by 16. That's what you want your sequence settings to be for the frame size. But then for the time base, you can leave it at 29.97. Like you're not going to notice a difference. But according to Instagram on their settings, they have specified that they prefer 30 frames per second. You may as well go with the Instagram recommendation because if you're posting on Instagram, you want to adapt to what they're looking for. So the sequence settings that you'll see in the project files are a 30 frames per second sequence. So that's what I focus on for social video. You can mess with everything else. But again, we're working with social video. I don't want you to spend too much time in the sequence settings. Just make sure it's vertical. And if you're doing it for Instagram, it's 30 frames per second. Then hit OK. And now you have this sequence. It'll just kind of plop it in your project, but you should keep things organized and put it over in your sequences bin. And then you can rename it. And you can name this, I'm going to, double click it and name it sequence setup. That way you know that that's just the one that I made to show you how you set up your sequence. Okay. From here, actually, I'm going to rename this I'm going to name it 01 Prep. And then That way I have 2 of them now, but it's because I want to show you how I assemble this prep sequence. So once you create that sequence, which again, if you download the files, it's already set up for you, but I just showed you how you can do it yourself. Once you have that prep sequence ready, what I want you to do for this day in the life vlog, I actually created already the script that I wanted to say for the project. So if I go into my Notion, which is where I usually write it, I have this little, this is how I kind of script out my reels and my TikToks. And so it's basically the narration, what I want to say. And then on the right, I kind of write down like what my shot idea is for that part of the script. Truthfully, with vertical video, I don't stick to this like super hard, but I do stick to what I say, to the narration, to the script really tightly, because it's a lot easier to record when you know what you're going to say. You're not just ad-libbing. But then in terms of the shots that I pair with that part of the sequence, it depends on what I collect, but this helps me think of the kind of shots I want to get, right? So welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. The shot that would go with that part, me sitting down at my table to get ready to work. And you'll see I have some shots like that. I have this other one, setting up an iPad on the easel, sketching the concept, editing on the iPad. These are all shots I got. And then I kind of try to match that shot with the narration. So here you can see the script that I told myself I was going to use. And usually a hard thing with day in the life type of content is that you don't know what you're recording, and then you don't know what you're going to say about the recording. And when you do that, you end up with those kinds of videos where the person is like, or in this case, me, I'm like, so I woke up and then I ate this thing. And then I also sat down and worked. And then after I worked, I, went to the bathroom, and then I made myself a coffee, and then I also drank water. And it's kind of like you're just narrating the random things that you did in your day, but you're not actually creating a story. So by sitting down and creating like a story for yourself, you're able to then match up the clips and have a vlog that kind of is purposeful as opposed to just random. And you want it to be purposeful so people follow you and want to know what you did in your day, right? You need to give them a reason to be interested in your day. And this is kind of how I do it. So I scripted out what I was doing in my day in more of a storytelling type of way. And once I'm in Premiere Pro and I have my sequence set up, I'm ready to record that narration, right? So you can narrate it directly on your phone, right? So you have a script, just go into voice notes or whatever and record your narration and bring it into Premiere Pro. That's one way to do it. Or you can record it right here in Premiere Pro. So the way that I do that, first, you want to go into your preferences and audio hardware. I'm not going to mess with any of this because I'm live and I don't want to mess with you. But what you want to make sure is that in audio, you have play audio while scrubbing. Mute input during timeline recording. That basically tells Premiere, don't play the playback while I'm recording. If you don't have that selected, you're going to have a hard time doing this. Once you have that setting all figured out, you just click this little voiceover record. I'm going to try it right now. You have a little countdown. You see countdown happening? And then you just start talking and you start saying what you're going to record. And once you're done with your script, for example, I have my script here that says, welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Lately, client work has been slow, so I've been keeping busy with my own projects. As a freelancer, whenever it's slow, you have to make the most of the time and work on projects that could lead to future projects. Today, I'm working on illustrations for an infographic post for my fellow creative friends who want tips for content creation. That's because a lot of illustrators and artists hate making content, but I kind of love it. And I want to show people that there are tools that can make your life easier. So I'm working on sharing my 5 favorite content creation tips, and I really love how these mix of photos and illustrations turned out. Check out the final post on my Instagram. And then you hit stop. And there you have it. That says, welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Lately, client work has been slow. So that's how you record directly in Premiere Pro. And this is nice because now you know exactly what kind of clips you want to set to that. So in order to use the new text-based audio settings that I want you to use, because it's so much easier to edit this way, you hit this little icon here, this workspace icon, hit that and go to text-based editing. Now, you can see it already started transcribing this. If yours doesn't have the transcript here, there's usually a little prompt that says, create transcript. Hit that and it'll auto transcribe the sequence for you. So the best thing about this is that you can just edit based on what it transcribed. So here we go. And then you just start talking, you start saying what you're going to record. Once you're done with your script, for example, so all this part I don't need, right? This was me talking to you. So I'm just going to highlight that and hit delete. And you saw that it deleted from my actual sequence. I'm going to redo that for you. So you can see here that it selected that part where I'm saying that, and then you hit delete. And now it starts with, welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Boom. And if you don't see these little dots, make sure you have it selected, because otherwise it won't show them to you, and you want to be able to see them so you can identify those pauses and delete them from your script. So here we go. Welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Lately, client work has been slow, and the best thing too, here it says classwork, but I actually said client work. So you want to hit this edit, and then you can just rewrite it. So you say client work. Oops, I'm not spelling that right. There we go. And then boom, client work has been. So that's how you're able to edit super quickly with this text-based editing. I'm going to remove this over here. And I'm actually going to show you the one that I recorded previously, just to show you exactly how I'm able to make further edits. Okay, but before we do that, let's see what's going on in the chat. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Oliver. Thanks for being here and checking out this video social media challenge. I'm really excited to show you how you can use these video editing tools, text-based editing tools, to speed up your editing process. Okay, so here you can see in this audio, if I go to the original project, which I think was one of these. Yes, it was this one. I made I stuttered a few times. I made a few mistakes. Welcome to a day in the life of a full-time. So I was able to edit all those little ums and little pauses out so that we have this really, really easy playback. Welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Lately, client work has been slow, so I've been keeping busy with my own projects. As a freelancer, whenever it's slow, you need to make time to create your favorite kind of work. Today, I'm working on illustrations for a little infographic for my fellow creative friends who want tips for content creation. A lot of illustrators and artists hate making content, but I kind of love it, and I want to show people that there are tools that can make your life a little easier. So I'm working on sharing my 5 favorite content creation tips, and I really love how these mix of photos and illustrations turned out. Check out the final post on my Instagram. Welcome to... And I already have it set to autoplay, or I don't. I think I just hit it. But you can hear here that I kind of, when I edit it using the text-based editing, and you already see that I have these captions created, so I'm one step ahead. Let me go back. So what I did to get to that point is I just used the text-based editing to delete certain parts, right? So the double welcome, so I'm working on, because I said it twice. There we go. So that's how we get to this point easier. But once you have your text-based editing settled, right, you have what you want to say tight, then you're able to create the captions. And I do that right after I have this narration set. And I know that's not super intuitive. Most people kind of edit the clips and then do the narration. But I think when we're talking about vlogs and storytelling is kind of really, really important. You want the clips to complement the story that you're saying, because the clips are just of everyday life. They might not be super compelling clips on their own, but the narration is what's going to make it really, really an interesting vlog. So once you have the narration edited, which you can see I did here, then I created the captions. Let me show you how I made those captions. So basically when you're here, let me delete some of these pauses in here that I have. It's so easy. I don't even have to look and scrub through my timeline. I can just see that there's pauses. Okay, I think that's good. Once I'm here, you're seeing the transcript view. Go over here to captions and you hit create captions from track. Now here, you can just hit create captions, but I do like to do a few little tweaks when we're talking about social media content. First, I want the maximum length in characters. I usually put it around 30 because I want there to be more text on the screen popping up constantly than like a lot of like paragraphs of text, right? I want there to be short little text. You could even put this down to like 4 characters. It's not words, it's characters. So I usually keep it around, let's try 25 today and see what happens, but around 25 and 35 is kind of like a sweet spot. And you can select if you want single lines or double lines. So that can also change it. I don't mind double lines because I don't want there to be an awkward cut in the caption, you know? So here I'm able to do a little bit of both. Okay. And under style, because if you download the project files, you'll see I already created this to you. I have Lime Helvetica style. So if you use this style, it will automatically create those captions using that style. So let's create captions so I can show you exactly what we're doing here. And this is super fast. Look, we're done. Okay. So here, this is where I start editing and tweaking things. So this is how it looks like just automatically, basically like what Adobe decided to do based on the transcript.
Welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Lately, client work has been slow, so I've been keeping busy with my own projects. As a freelancer, whenever it's slow,
I don't want to mute it.
Time to create your favorite kind of work.
I don't want to make you sit through the full 30 seconds each time. So you can see that here, I would maybe want that text to say, welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator, or welcome to a day in the life, and then the other part say of a full-time illustrator. This is super easy. You can still tweak these captions once you created them. So I wanted to say, welcome to a day in the life. And then I want the next caption to just say of a full-time illustrator. And now when in your sequence, you want to just make sure it lines up the audio.
Welcome to a day in the life of a full-time. Welcome to a day in the life.
So that's where I finished saying welcome to a day in the life. So I want that second part to start there, and I want that first part to end there. So I just kind of adjusted the clips of the caption.
A day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Lately, client work has been slow, so I've been keeping busy with my own projects. As a freelancer,
there we go. So I think that looks pretty good. And then the rest of them kind of worked out nicely. Here, I don't like the way the text is laid out. So I'm just going to double click that caption and I'm just going to hit back. Okay, lately, client work has been slow. There we go. I did a little break and now it just mirrors that. So as soon as you adjust the captions, it mirrors it in the actual sequence. And this is because I already created the Helvetica style that I wanted. If you wanted to edit that, you could. You just have to go into the captions and graphics workspace. And now you have all these styles for editing that text. I have it set so it's in the middle of the screen because I kind of feel like that's kind of on trend right now to have the text in the middle. But if you use these horizontal and vertical position transformation tools, you could, let's like just maybe put it a little bit lower. I usually kind of try to keep things in the middle because of the way that social media like cuts things off depending on what platform you're posting it on. So I kind of just mentally keep it there, but you could also drag a line and be like maybe around there and just try to keep it there because you have a caption to account for, you know, there's other things at play here. And once you have it set there, I'm going to adjust it. So I'm going to say push to track or style. So I want this new placement to get pushed to all captions on the track. Oops. Sometimes I have to push it to the style, and then I have to push that style to all captions on the track. There we go. So now it's a little bit lower. So that's handy. And that's basically the stage that I do to make sure I have all my captions ready to go. And now it's time to add those clips. So what I'm going to switch views here because we're still on text. We were in the captions one. Here's text-based editing. I'm going to switch to vertical. This one lets you play your screen and see things vertically as opposed to horizontally. So I want to show you how I ended up doing this. So here's kind of the captions that I edited. I'm going to mute it for a second. That I edited when I was prepping this project, and I put them, now they're kind of lower where we just adjusted them. And what I end up doing is I kind of want each caption segment. So let's say, let me zoom in a little bit here. This caption segment to align with the next clip. This one to have its own clip, and this one to have its own clip that matches it. That way, when we're playing things back, it really kind of flows really easily. Something to keep in mind here is that, for example, this segment of clips, the captions don't align perfectly, but that's because I was aligning it to like the message. I say something a little bit longer and I just want to put more clips in there because if it was just one clip for 10 seconds, it would be boring, right? So you don't want to do that. So the way that I ended up doing this was I went to my footage and I looked through my footage. Okay, if we look at, why can't I see my little scrubby thing? It's hidden. Okay, here we go. If you're looking at it, you can scrub through. Wait, how come I can't see it there? Something is going on. Let me return to the other view. Editing. I still can't see it there. Let me save and restart, and maybe that'll help. I couldn't see the timeline, so I could scrub through and select the clips that I want to select. So maybe now it'll show up. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. All is well. I'm gonna go into vertical. There we go. So this is what I wanted to see. So when you're in your project and you're looking through your footage and you're trying to align things, what I'm gonna do real quick is in Edit 2, I'm gonna duplicate this so I can show you exactly how I worked through this. I'm gonna do 1.5. When you're here, right now you're seeing everything that I already worked on. But let's pretend none of that existed. If I was just on the captions, right? This is where you're at. You finally created the captions. You want to go through your footage and select the little pieces that you think make sense. So this is a clip I have of me setting up the camera, going, entering, because I was trying to get that clip of me being like, I'm a full-time illustrator entering my office. So you hit I when you want to start, and here is the out point. So that's kind of the segment of this clip that I want to introduce into my timeline. I don't need the audio. I just want the video. So I hover over this icon here and I drag it into my timeline and plop it down. And for some reason, it's not wanting to do it, but it should work seamlessly when you do it. Let me go to the editing workspace. Try it here. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see if I just drag it all entirely. It's being a little finicky with me today. Well, when you end up doing it, what will happen is you're able to just drag that segment of the clip and insert it into the timeline, into your sequence. For some reason, it's being a bit glitchy with me right now. It's being fussy with me right when I'm on live. But that's what I ended up doing. Every single clip in here, I selected the clip. You see it in your source window. And I thought, okay, let me see. I want right when I bring in that coffee. So I said in, and then when I set it down, that's the end of that little segment. And then I want to just insert that. So let me say, Alt-X, I'm going to say insert the clip. Okay, it's also not doing it like that. Wow, it's being quite fiddly. Let me hit save, quit. I might open it in beta. Beta has been a little bit more stable. And yes, Derek, that is a Shar-Pei in the background. Thank you. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my dog. She's a Shar-Pei. Okay. Let's look at this footage one more time and see if it'll... All right, so that's the segment that I wanted, right? I hit in and I to select it, and then I drag in. You guys, let me create a new sequence. Nothing interesting. Okay, well, you just drag it and it'll show up in your timeline. And from there, you can start assembling. And you can see here from all this footage that I just sort of matched what I was saying to the clip that I ended up grabbing. So here we go.
Welcome to a day in the life of a full-time illustrator. Lately, client work has been slow, so I've been keeping busy with my own projects. As a freelancer, whenever it's slow, you need to make time to create your favorite kind of work. Today, I'm working on illustrations for a little infographic for my fellow creative friends who want tips for content creation. Because a lot of illustrators and artists hate making content, but I kind of love it, and I want to show people that there are tools that can make your life a little easier. So I'm working on sharing my 5 favorite content creation tips, and I really love how these mix of photos and illustrations turned out. Check out the final post on my Instagram.
So that's how I edited. And also, if you hit out on your keyboard, you're able to set the out point. And if you make sure you have the loop playback, if you're not seeing that little button, you can find it here in the button editor and drag it in. Then when you are playing
Final
it
post
through,
on my
it will
Instagram.
automatically
Welcome to a day in
play
the life
again.
of a full-time illustrator.
And you can see that I matched up my captions with the clip that I played. That way I have a really nice vlog narration happening with all of those clips. And the clips that I ended up using didn't align perfectly with the script. I just kind of went through my clips and noticed what kind of made sense. So as a freelancer, whenever it's slow, you need to make time to create your favorite kind of work. I decided, okay, I have these clips of me setting up my little drawing easel and station so that I don't hurt my neck. I am going to insert those clips. So I was able to just go through the footage, and I think it was one of these. Yes, this one here. Yeah, right in here. And I just kind of hit, when I was in here, I played it and I said right there, and then I dragged that down to my timeline. I was able to insert it and just kind of assemble each little clip one after the other. So this is one really good way to make sure that your vlogs have a story that's driving them, and it's not just clip after clip and where you're just saying like, I did this and then I set up my drawing easel and then I drew, and after I drew I put it on the computer and then I posted it on Instagram. That's kind of boring. We want to know what's happening and why are you drawing this today, all that kind of thing. So that'll really help you out. And thank you so much. And I hope to see you again tomorrow for tomorrow's video challenge session. Goodbye.